Hello everyone, it's Joel Davis with United Medical Transportation Providers Group, and you are the broker.com, helping you to build a highly effective, highly profitable broker business. I will try to keep this as fast as I can because I do have to leave here momentarily. Couple of quick things. If you hear any crazy noises, it's because I got contractors working outside. Karen wanted me to remind you, if you're an active UMTPG member, email her, Karen at milliondollartransportation.com with your up-to-date mailing address. They've already shipped out like 250 plus of these, but this one specifically says market analysis evaluation, so make sure you're getting the right one if you're an active member. This is literally it's almost an hour-long recorded conference call I had with a great client provider who's on a border state. We were talking about his market analysis, working in both states and going back and forth and everything. So great conversation, great feedback. I literally just received this prior to putting this open up my email here. This one says, just finished watching the video. Thanks so much. Being able to actually hear the conversation between the two of you helped me further understand the process. I can better develop my strategy, etc., etc., etc. Again, a lot of great emails from all of you who are appreciating and learning from this. That's outstanding. So if you're an active member, email Karen if you want that. Karen at milliondollartransportation.com. Now let me answer a couple of great questions before I go. This one is very important. It looks like Biden is going to win. What are your thoughts on shorting the market? Huge question. Huge question. First and foremost, as I said before, the businessman in office is going to win. If he loses, I encourage all of you, you can ditch me, unsubscribe, go on to the next, go follow the White Walkers of the industry, all the chasers and everything. If Biden were to win, the markets right now, as we speak of shooting this, the markets are doing phenomenally well. So no, you wouldn't short the market, because if that dementia patient was to win, then no question, I wouldn't short the market immediately. It would be a progressive evolution on particular stocks, because trust me, it would be completely different between the dementia patient in office versus the businessman in office. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, I know it may look bleak, but I can only go off my instincts. I can only go off my instincts. Then everyone thinks I'm crazy because so many people have talked to me, emailed me questions, and family, friends, all stuff. Everyone polls. I'm telling you, you don't look at the polls. You don't follow the fake news, lamestream media. I'm looking at this. Maybe it's my pre-law major intuition. I'm looking at this from a legal aspect, and there is overwhelming evidence in so many different states for legalities. I want this thing to be clogged up in the courts. Number one, it works to our advantage for that businessman to be reelected, but it is going to reveal so much about the level of corruption of the deep state and everything that's going on and all the hijinks. So no question. I encourage you, if you think I'm crazy, unsubscribe. That's cool. I am not a social media expert guru. I'm not trying to be a media influencer. I don't care. I make the majority of these videos for my own therapy as it is, and those who actually value the content. So if you're a drive-by viewer, if you're a White Walker of the industry, you're a freebie expert, I get it, man. You think I'm crazy. Go with that stuff. I'm telling you, my instincts tell me that businessman is still going to be in office. I called it way back in the day. I told you it wasn't going to be decided on election day for sure. I thought this would go to the courts, but the one thing I did not predict it was going to be for so many states. I actually thought it was going to be just more or less for around Pennsylvania. But again, you can never underestimate the level and the degree of the lunacy of the Looney Tunes. Again, a long time ago I said they are literally running their own parallel election like we've never seen before with this mail-in voter stuff. And I know you're watching this, you think I'm crazy. It is ripe for fraud. We all know it. You can admit it or not admit it, but deep down inside, you know it's true. It doesn't work. So they're running their own parallel election to create chaos, because that's how the lunacy thrives. That's how the godless, hypocrite, anti-American haters, that's how they thrive. They have got to have chaos. This is what they did in England back in the day. This is what they did over in Eastern Europe, many different places, and now trying to deploy the same strategy here. So is it going to work ultimately? Man, I'll tell you what, it may look bleak now, but I am still going to follow my instincts and say that that businessman is going to be in office. So all of you who think I'm crazy, unsubscribe. I'm cool with this. So going back to your question, should you short the market? No, not right now, especially if we have a divided government where we still maintain the Senate. The Republicans have mitigated and gained seats in the House. That would, if that dementia patient were to go into office, it would help us hedge a degree of protection. But again, there are certain things, there's no question. If the dementia patient were in office, so many things would change that would be adverse to the market. So at that point in time, you would strategically start to short certain stocks and things of that nature. But as a whole, you don't just bail, you don't just pull everything out. Absolutely not. There's a lot of money to be made between now and then. This is from a client provider I'm working with right now. Doing a great job. A lot to learn. Just started working with them. And she says, I continue to get calls for stretchers. It hurts my heart that they're not stretcher capable right now. I continue to get calls for stretchers. It hurts my heart to have to turn them away, but at least we know there is a lot of work out there, and hopefully our next vehicle can do stretchers. I would love to tell you more about them, but I have to protect my client provider's information, so I won't even tell you the state they're in. But they are in a state, it's a communist state, and surprisingly enough, in this state they can do ambulatory wheelchair and stretchers. So they, in this state they could do stretchers, which is phenomenal. But the reason I'm sharing this is because there is so much work out there. What happens is the vast majority of the white walkers who think they are legitimate NEMT providers, they are not. Just because you have your own car, your own sedan, even if you get a minivan and you're focused on your ambulatory work, you can call yourself an NEMT provider all you want because you go out there and transport elderly people, take them to and from medical appointments, but there is no degree of legitimate NEMT capacity. Are you ever going to contract with hospitals with such limited capacities? Absolutely not. Are you going to go after legitimate government contracts, VA contracts, things of that nature with such limited capacity? No. Will you feel better about yourself because you could pat yourself on the back and say, hey, Ralph, you're a great NEMT provider, and every day I get up and I drive elderly people. Again, feel good about yourself, but in my biased opinion, you are not a legitimate NEMT provider because you don't have the adequate capacity. You cannot go after legitimate work that is going to sustain you long term. And that's why I call them chasers, because you're chasing every single trip. And that is not going to make you real money. It is not going to make you wealthy. It's not going to provide you with a platform that we can build, grow, and diversify and scale to make real money. So I shared that because there is so much opportunity. Now, in working with her, the next vehicle we get, no question, we're going to make sure that it's stretcher capable. We're going to make sure that her husband and employees, that they're going to be able to, because her husband also helps drive. We're going to make sure they know exactly what they're doing, so they can completely transition from focusing on ambulatory to now go all in on wheelchairs and stretchers. That is where the money is. Again, I'm going to say it again and again and again. NEMT is not ambulatory work. That's pretty much what taxi services are. Your ride share, your Ubers, your Lyfts. Legitimate NEMT is wheelchairs and stretchers. You can go after contract work. And it's also, think of it realistically. I've said it a million times. I'm going to say it again. This is why I tell you, do not just focus on Medicaid, broker, guaranteed work. That's only 30 to 40% of the market. And then you further divide and segment and fragment that statistic out to why would you focus only on ambulatory, which is the least form of reimbursement. You want to go all in on wheelchairs and stretchers. This is why the type of vehicles and equipment you have is absolutely critical. Now, this is actually from the same provider, but I had to include this because I've browbeat so many of you over the head. You have got to maintain your numbers in-house, as in every single day you or someone from your team has got to be managing your numbers, and you do it in-house. You use your accountant either quarterly or once a year, as a minimum once a year, obviously, because you want your legitimate accountant to file the tax returns. I know the White Walkers out there are going to tell you, do it yourself, do it yourself. Do your own payroll, do your own filings. No, you outsource that. Let the experts do what the experts do best. But you need someone every single day where it is an absolute minimum. You can enter in, you can monitor all your income and your daily expenses. Your P&L should be just a few keystrokes away, tops. So with that being said, she wrote here, because she's an active TPG member, and with your membership you get a free copy or a free subscription to admin accounting. I mean, it's free, use it. She says, so like I mentioned in the previous email, we signed up to join TPG. I am most definitely taking advantage of the admin accounting software, much easier than QuickBooks. You'll be proud to hear that I have prepared and attached a current P&L statement for your review. I will not continue to sit around and wait for my accountant. She's been held hostage, waiting and waiting. It's taken weeks. Like, where's the P&L? It's ridiculous. That's not how you operate your business. You're not in business to be held hostage. She continues. She is the accountant. She is always so busy, I barely ever get to speak to her and have my questions answered. Exactly. This is what happens. You use your accountant to file your quarterly or your annual returns. You can use a bookkeeper who comes in periodically. Accountants charge a lot more than a legitimate bookkeeper, even though the difference of capabilities is marginal at best. The reason why accountants are so much more expensive as compared to a bookkeeper is because the accountants have to have regular certification. So they got to pay top dollar for their education and certification as well. So they can charge a lot more, and their signature's on the line when they file the returns. A bookkeeper doesn't have that, but a bookkeeper, 9 times out of 10, a bookkeeper knows about 90 to 95% the same thing that the accountant does. So you personally, if you don't do it yourself or someone in your team, need to be able to enter in, whether you're using admin accounting or QuickBooks or any type of similar software, you need to be entering in your numbers every single day so that you can always access your P&Ls at just a few keystrokes away. Then you can use a bookkeeper to come in quarterly to do some reconciliation if you want, and then you use your accountant once or twice a year. Now, trust me, you're making big bucks. You have the huge diversification, kind of like I illustrate in all my previous videos. You have multiple businesses. Then you're using your accountants much more intimately with your projects. No question. I mean, I deal with mine regularly, but we have a much bigger operation in multiple states and everything like that. So it's critical that my accountant is regularly involved. Totally different story. Let's see. She says here, the accountant, is always so busy, I barely ever get to speak to her and have my questions answered. So when you suggested we only use her once or twice just for the returns, it actually made sense. Exactly. Now I am in control. She says, now I'm in control and don't have to chase her around. Exactly. Business is about you empowering yourself. Absolutely love it. So if you're an active TPG member, if you're not using QuickBooks or something else, some other type of accounting software, then adminaccounting.com is free for you as a member. Use it. It's painfully easy, as she says. See, I am most definitely taking advantage of the admin accounting, much easier than QuickBooks. Boom, love it. Absolutely love it. This question came to Amelia. Love the business model, talking about youarethebroker.com, the broker business. I love the business model about how do you find independent contractors and how do you find the work orders for delivery. Couple quick things. First and foremost, your independent contractors you can find online, different types of services. But what you're going to find in time, if you've been watching my previous videos and newsletters where I've shared a lot of the 1099s, you see that my contractors are making great money. Once you get your contractors, the hardest part is getting started in any business. It always comes down to one: getting the first client, getting the first employee, getting the first contractor, first customer, whatever. But as you start to build momentum, it gets easier and easier. So for our contractors, we will use some of the online sources if we're entering a new market, but we're in a position now with my broker business for a long time. We really are, all of our contractors are pretty much word of mouth because, again, if you've seen some of the previous videos and newsletters, you see that my contractors are making great money. So the next thing you know, their brother wants to come work for us, their cousin, their friend, things of that nature. It's success breeds success, and once you start getting that momentum, it's easier to find contractors. Again, if we are going into new regions, then no doubt there is a challenge. But even then, it's so much easier if I'm sitting down, or one of my RDs is sitting down with a new prospective contractor. We will literally show them 1099s from some of our other contractors, and bottom line, it always 99.9% of the time seals the deal. So again, the hardest part is getting started. When you study my material for youarethebroker.com, in the very beginning, I tell you, when I was first launching this, and I was down in North Carolina, literally meeting with prospective contractors. You could argue that was the hardest part. Taking the breakfast, taking the lunch, some I met in their own home, looked at their vehicles, literally trying to explain to them what we were trying to build, what we were trying to do. That was a harder sell. Now it's easy. It's like, now we just show them, boom, the 1099. You want to make real money? Here's what we do. And it always works. In terms of finding the actual, you mentioned deliveries. Remember, with youarethebroker.com, there's multiple sources of revenue. It's not just delivery. For the previous 9 years, delivery was always our biggest source of revenue. This year, it's going to be exceeded for the first time. Year 9. That's how interesting this business model is, because it's totally changed. This is going to be the first year where our express moves and labor only is actually going to exceed our work order volume for deliveries. It's phenomenal because the ROI, the reimbursements, the revenue for express moves and labor only per work order is typically higher than a delivery, which is phenomenal. So that's great. So we're doing well. But in terms of how you actually find places for delivery, you got to be thinking retail stores, corporate clients, and it comes down to a lot of different things. It comes down to literally soliciting them, going to see them. You're going to get a lot of repeat business in your marketing materials. Again, success breeds success. When you're successful in one, it's easier to be successful in another. Getting testimonials, endorsements, being able to substantiate that you're doing exceptionally well here. People want to be part of a winning team. When they see that you have increased capacity, you're doing well, you have a good reputation, it's easier to get new clients, whether it's a retail store or corporate client. And you're going to get a lot of customers, even independent customers. They may have used you as a customer from one of the retail stores. Once they use you and they like you, you're going to get repeat business. A delivery can easily lead to an express move, plenty of labor-only jobs. And then there's other online platforms that we started using before as lead generation. So that's been phenomenally well for us. But all right, listen, I'm going to have to cut this off because I do have an appointment I need to get to. So I hope that some of that has been insightful to answer your questions. I know it's been crazy out there right now. Be excited. This stuff is awesome. I'm absolutely loving this. So for some of you who definitely see the advantages and wisdom of having that businessman in office. Why? Because politics directly affects policy, which directly affects your money. So for some of you who are frustrated, be of good cheer. First of all, this is all exciting. And I'm going to be honest with you, I know you're all thinking I'm crazy. And if I have to be a party of one, I'm cool with being a party of one. But my instinct still tells me that businessman is going to be in office. And especially if he is, and these markets continue to rage throughout that next term, there's only one thing I can possibly do. See you at the top.